Okay, so before the video starts, I need to go on a small rant. I don't really understand the hate towards Fire Force because from the looks of it, it just looks like a normal anime. I've heard that people are like, "Oh, it's too fan servicey," but I don't know. I've grown up with pretty fan servicey animes like To Love Ru and Sekon no Quasar, Cross Ange, Prison School, that one wrestling anime that literally had the camera in between the girl's legs. So I don't know why everyone is so, well, not everyone, because I don't think people are hating it, or is so upset about Fire Force being uh, anime or having a lot of fan service. Now, I haven't seen Fire Force or read Fire Force, so maybe people are right and maybe it is just super fan servicey. I mean, or maybe the people are just being sensitive, and I kind of feel like that people are just being sensitive mainly because this is the same person who made Soul Eater, and though I have not seen Soul Eater, that anime also had a bit of fan service in it. So I don't know. I want to watch it, but I don't want to watch it because I don't want to think about Twitter whenever I'm watching a series, or I don't want Twitter to be right about anything because I freaking hate Twitter. And this intro has been going on way too long, so I should just shut up. This is gonna sound weird, but I kind of want to give the girl from Fire Force a raspberry. Like, I want to blow on her stomach, which is weird. I don't know why. I should probably shut up about it. Hello, people. Today, I'm going to be talking about the worst fandoms. And also, I don't have a script or anything. I'm going to be winging it, just like the old days. Although the reason why I'm doing this video is because I have a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I kind of want to just focus on that and not really think about YouTube. And I just feel like if I just make a video like this, I think I would do good at not thinking about YouTube. Burning bitches, as they say. Undertale was probably one of the first fandoms I've ever joined, and I don't think it was as bad as it is or was back in the day. I mean, back then there were shipping wars about Sorial and Franz, and people were calling each other, or they were declaring Sans either a furry or a something I'm not allowed to say. And I was always very confused by why people were so upset with the Sorial and Franz. I mean, well, partly because I was just a dumb kid who didn't understand how fandoms and shipping and anything worked. And okay. So Toriel and Sans are both monsters. That's what I thought. And there were so many AUs that the idea of like Frisk being aged up or being thought of to be older than like said in the game, well, didn't seem that bad of an idea. It didn't seem that far fetched. I mean, I do like how some people, at least when they made Franz art, they actually aged up Frisk significantly and made it obvious. I mean, all of that. That's not even the bad stuff, in my opinion. There is the bad stuff. Like, Error Sans X Ink Sans. We're getting to levels of shipping that really shouldn't be possible, and it was called Sancest. Oh, what the heck? I just, what? I liked the games and everything, but after a while I sort of drifted off, and it's so sad that Undertale became a shell of its former self. It's sad that the Undertale fandom once was this really grand thing that everyone loved, and now it's just haha funny skeleton man. I mean, and sometimes when looking at some of the fan art, I do find it actually pretty nostalgic, even through the shipping ones. And honestly, I kind of miss this. Like, I feel like with Undertale, with the shipping, there were a lot of just comics and stuff that were just, oh, I do something very flirtatious. And then another character is like, oh, blush. I feel like we don't get that much anymore with fandoms. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I just don't want to go into any fandom whatsoever because I've been traumatized way too much. Never mind, this entire fandom needs to die. Okay, let's talk about Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's actually wasn't really that bad of a community, also. I mean, the worst you could get was just people arguing over stupid ships or a few cringy OC characters. But, I mean, that was it. I mean, it was pretty fun and pretty tame. I mean, compared to what I've seen. I mean, I don't know. It's been a while since I have been a part of the fandom. And I know the fact that back then it was basically Sonic the Hedgehog when it came to shipping. Like, it was basically Sonic the Hedgehog. Don't lie. Don't lie to yourselves. I mean, like, the biggest problem about it is probably the series, especially now, because before it was just, oh, I shall use my deductive reasoning to figure out who did the bite of 87, to the bite of 87 was caused by the purple guy who went back in time and then became the pink guy, and then he did the bite of 87, but that was also the bite of 83, which was actually the bite of 84, which he did it by creating a cyborg fused with all of the ghosts from every single Five Nights at Freddy's game, but actually this is all a dream, but actually it's not. I mean, overall, it wasn't that bad. Okay, on to the next fandom, I guess. The creepypasta fandom is definitely one of those fandoms that, when I look back on it, I just cringe so much. I mean, I probably should have stated this at the beginning, but I don't really want to shame people for what they like or what they do in a fandom, but the creepypasta fandom was just filled to the brim with just cringy Mary Sues and Gary Sues and bad, overrated stories. The most popular one, Jeff the Killer, is by far one of the stupidest creepypasta stories, in my opinion. When I was little, it scared me, but now that I'm older, I am really realizing how stupid the story is. So, okay, the part that creeped me out the most as a kid was the part where he cut off his eyelids in order to not sleep, which terrified me as a kid, mainly because the idea of blinking but not being able to blink made me feel very uncomfortable. But now looking back, that's so stupid. That's so stupid. Like, that's not how sleep works. That's kind of dumb. Also, his catchphrase was, go to sleep when he's about to kill someone. Which, I think even the fandom back in the day thought that was stupid. Now, once again, I don't really want to shame people, because back then, it was just kids having fun, and I'm sure a lot of people who are a fan of creepypastas look back and just laugh and cringe at what they used to be. It's a good fandom to be nostalgic about. Okay, time to talk about a few more problematic fandoms. I don't know how Yandere Simulator still has fans after all of these years, but my explanation is that none of the people who are fans are over the age of 15. That's my only explanation as to why there are still fans. And if any fans are actually watching this, which is unlikely, but if there are any fans watching this, stop supporting the game. Like, seriously, just seriously. The only way for this game to be good is just to be completely destroyed and to start from back from scratch. It's been like, what, 8 or 7 years since the game first came out? Like, that's way too long for any game to take to be made. And it's just a Hitman or Solid Snake ripoff with an anime skin on it. That's literally all it is. If, like, people really should just, like, go and support actual good content creators who actually put work into their games and actually have original ideas. Like, seriously, if people who are just waiting for Yandere Simulator to be made, they're just gonna be waiting and waiting and waiting until it gets made, and then they're gonna just find out, oh, it's complete garbage. I've wasted all this time waiting for complete garbage. This isn't even part of the fandom. I'm more just ranting. Probably because I don't actually know much about the fandom, or if it's good or bad. But considering that it could be just a bunch of 14-year-old edgelords who think that, killing is fun. Yeah, that doesn't make me enthusiastic about it. And plus, I did meet one fan who was extremely... I don't think he went to school because his spelling was so bad, and it was just like, you're stupid, I don't care if he has his yandere dev, like, made it so one of the rivals was actually an adult, and one of the rivals was a sister. It's just a game. Like, why are you're stupid for getting upset over it. I wanted to try to not talk about Yandere dev drama because he's not really a part of the video. That's not really part of the topic. But so I'm just gonna try to just steer away from him. I don't know the fandom. If every single fandom person is like the person that I met on that one from one commenter on one of my videos, then oh gosh, like people who go, who cares if this is a guy, like, we're supporting a guy who supports illegal actions and has illegal actions in the game and is like literally an incel and just a general creep. I should probably just move on to the next one before I go on a rant. Oh my gosh, the next fandom I have to talk about is the My Hero Academia fandom. I am not exaggerating when I say the My Hero Academia fandom is probably one of the worst, most aggravating fandoms I have ever experienced. And the worst part is it basically ruined My Hero Academia for me, which is a series that I somewhat enjoyed watching and reading about. And I especially like season 2, but just the fandom and the people, especially the freaking shippers, that's my biggest problem. It's the freaking shippers. Because they just, hey, hey, there's this thing, a ship does not have to be canon. You do realize that, right? A ship doesn't need to be canon! Like, I sometimes ship Komeda x Mikan, and I know for a fact that it will never be canon. Yet there's people who in the My Hero Academia fandom who go, if Hirikoshi doesn't if Hirikoshi doesn't make Bakudeku canon, I'm gonna just go jump off a cliff, or they make some stupid excuse actually Hirokoshi's brothers-in-law's assistant dog's friend actually ships it, so it's basically canon. And there's this one spoiler that I feel like freaking a lot of Bakudeku shippers just love to use for supporting Bakudeku, and some of them put spoiler warning, but some of them don't. They just go, oh yeah, here's this big freaking spoiler, and it's just spoiler, who cares? Like, it shows that Bakudeku is canon, or whatever. I feel like that's what's more, I don't know what is more frustrating. How certain shippers act around, like, Bakudeku and ships like that, or how they treat Uraraka as a character, or how they treat any of the characters as characters. But let's focus on Uraraka, because she seems like she gets the most unjusted amount of hate. That is just so infuriating. Now, if you don't like Uraraka, that's fine. It's understandable. Some people think that she's just a love interest and she's not really that important or something. But, I mean, I feel like her relationship with Deku is pretty normal. Like, I feel like it's a pretty normal high school crush throughout the series. But yet people are like, oh my gosh, she's like obsessed with Deku. Like, oh my gosh, how could people like her? She's obsessed. I mean, have you people watched Fairy Tail? Like, when I think of freaking obsessed, I don't think of Uraraka or Chaco. I think of freaking Juvia. That's what I think of when I think of freaking obsessed. And people are just, they think, oh gosh, the stupidest reason I've ever heard for someone not liking Uraraka is because she's shipped with Bakugo. That's an actual ship, or an actual reason that someone has for not liking Uraraka. And my brain wants to have a stroke at that dumb logic. That logic is so dumb, and it's painful that that the people who are just like that, they probably think they're fans. Like, the insane toxic shippers probably think they're fans, but they think that, oh man, I'm such a fan, but actually, like, the creator Hirikoshi, it should change the entire story, so it's like a yaoi fan fiction. But I'm such a fan, and if he doesn't, I mean, he's an idiot. Like, people would be like that. People freaking hate Hirikoshi, even though he seems like a pretty cool dude, and like, they've sent death threats to him, and I don't care what reason they have for sending death threats, where it's like, oh, because of just Uraraka, and like, because of Bakudeku not being canon, or because of Endeavor's arc, and it doesn't matter if he can't understand the death threats. It doesn't matter. They sent freaking death threats. Like, the fact that people do that, and they dare call themselves fans, is just asinine. And I don't usually like to use the word true fan, because it seems kind of just insulting to people who are just starting off in a series and don't really know everything. But, like, I really don't know how you could call yourself a fan of a series if you just take away everything, or if you ignored the plot and everything that made characters special and just go, ooh, these two gay boys love each other. That's so infuriating. There's probably more stuff that just frustrates me that I can't even remember because my brain just blocked it out. Oh gosh, might as well talk about the next one, I guess. Okay, it's time for the moment y'all have been waiting for. Let's talk about the Danganronpa fandom. I wonder what horrible thing I should start with first. I mean, since I've already dug a hole in the last rant I did, might as well go deeper. So there's a certain Danganronpa YouTuber who seems to have a certain problem when it comes to headcanons, and they are not the only one with this problem, but this is for literally everyone in the fandom who has this headcanon issue. And, okay, I need you to listen right here. Listen to me right now. Put down your pride and let people criticize your headcanons! Also, the whole sexuality headcanons is probably the lamest type of headcanons. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not trying to say that I am the master of headcanons and that every single headcanon that I ever make is completely logical and makes completely sense. Yeah, I used to headcanon that Kokichi was Nagito and Mikan's son. I'm just saying that the best types of headcanons are the ones that when you say them, people will go, oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And the worst types of headcanons are the ones that directly contradict the story. An example being the trans Chihiro headcanon, which sort of eliminates the whole big emotional punch of chapter 2. If you want to believe that Chihiro is trans, then you shouldn't mark it as headcanon. You should mark it as an AU, because it completely changes the story. I think that's all I can say about the whole headcanon thing. Basically, if you have a headcanon, that is fine, but don't be annoying or obnoxious about it. Because there are people who, for some reason, they believe their bad headcanons, their lazy headcanons are super good, and whoever doesn't believe that their headcanons are absolutely true is offensive and just close-minded. Even though there's no evidence other than there's just no evidence to disprove it. Just be aware that there will be people who will not understand or like your headcanons and will ask why you believe in certain headcanons, and you'll have to give an explanation. Be aware that that probably will happen. Okay, now let's move on to the shipping. I feel like that the shipping in Danganronpa is pretty bad. A lot of the most popular ships are just shipped not because they would be a good relationship, but because gay. Which I'm fine if you are gay. Please do not take that out of context. But being gay does not mean you're going to be in a healthy relationship. I actually made a few videos on a few of the more popular ships. Well, I don't know if Junko x Mikan is popular. I would hope not. But I did make one on why I hated Omasai. It was basically because Oma wasn't really that good of a person. And yet people ship him with Shuichi. Partly of the reason why I have a problem with this ship and every other like unhealthy ship like Komahina and Junko x Mikan is that there might be some young and impressionable people who might think that this is what a normal and healthy relationship looks like. I mean, maybe I'm just looking too much into it, and maybe I'm just being paranoid. I probably am, and that probably would also make me a big hypocrite, since I literally just said earlier in the video that I shipped Komeda x Mikan, which is in no way would be healthy, because how would two mentally unstable people make a good relationship? Sorry, now I kind of went on a tangent. Also, just like the My Hero Academia fandom, people seem to think that a ship must be canon no matter what, and in order for it to be good, it has to be canon, and whoever doesn't like the ship is just a bad person and deserves to be executed. Also, there's probably a large percentage of people who simp for Nagito because he's crazy and that's so hot, and like to people who think that like having a mental illness is hot, that's like going up to a person who can't walk and being like, "Oh, it's so hot how you can't use your legs," or going up to someone who's just shot in like the chest and going, "Oh my gosh, it's so hot how you're bleeding to death." Or just going up to any person suffering and just going, "Oh man, it's so hot how you're just in constant suffering. It gave me rock hard, dude." I feel like the last thing I want to talk about is the fact that people don't seem to realize that there's a difference between justifying and understanding a character's actions. Like, you can still like a character even if they don't have done not good things. Like, you can even dislike a character, but you can still understand why they did the way things that they did. Like, a lot of people don't like Mikan, but I actually really like her, and I am sad that she is pretty much just wasted potential. But I understand why that she is the way that she is, and it doesn't make her actions good. The same goes with Nagito, where like his actions are pretty bad, but they're understandable because, well, both Mikan and Nagito are a little messed up in the head. It doesn't mean what they did was right, but it's understandable, which I think also could be the reason why Kokichi is a little bit overrated and not that good of a character, because you can't really understand or justify his actions for any, like, you don't get a reason for why he acts the way he acts. He just does it just because, not because of that's how he grew up, or that's just the way he is. And we don't get an explanation why. Okay, I think that's everything in the Danganronpa fandom. On to the next one. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the BTS fandom. So, massive trigger warning. Some extremely terrible things are going to be talked about. And if that stuff makes you uncomfortable, I recommend you go to another video. I mean, I made a Mikan swimsuit video. Why don't you just go to that one? Please, just leave. I don't want to, like, end up triggering people. This is probably the worst fandom ever, with the most insane people. Now, I would have talked about just K-pop in general, but I did not want to put myself through any more pain and torture. I'd rather deal with the insanity that is the friggin' BTS fandom. Okay, so I should probably start with something small and recent, I think, where the fandom asked for the My Hero Academia Twitter to wish some either a BTS member or a K-pop star a freaking happy birthday, and the at first the My Hero Academia Twitter was like, oh, okay, sure, but then the fandom asked for it again, and the Twitter was like, nah, and then they started insulting the series. Now, you would think that challenging the My Hero Academia fandom would result in the world freaking exploding, but don't worry, they only challenged the series. They didn't insult any of the ships, so we're good. Now, the next weird thing they do is that apparently, whenever it's a member's birthday, the fans will go and start chanting their name and then get a cake, which is extremely weird. Like, the appropriate reaction to hearing a celebrity's birthday is just, oh, okay, that's nice. But just imagine, you're just minding your own business, and then you see a bunch of 14-year-old white girls ranting and chanting with a cake that spells the word Junglecock. And they keep on saying the word Junglecock. Okay, so once again, massive trigger warning. What I'm about to talk about is extremely serious. Okay, so we'll at some point, like a different K-pop artist passed away due to suicide, which is very sad. And so Spotify decided to make a playlist for this person. But they ended up accidentally adding a BTS song. But this isn't about what Spotify did. It's about the reaction towards the fan base. They frickin' started insulting the artist, which is just the most disgusting thing I could ever think about doing. I hate that. And I hate even more that that's not even the worst thing that they've done. That's not the most selfish thing that they've done. Which I will talk about right now. This next part is probably the worst thing they've ever done. Basically, at some point, a member got into dating someone, and the fandom threatened to hurt themselves or kill themselves, which, when I heard about that, I'm not a big Abop fan. I've not listened to much of their music. But when I heard about that, that made me furious. Like, that made me absolutely furious that you would do that to anybody. Just threatening to hurt yourself or kill yourself in order to get what you want. That just seems so selfish. And it made me just disgusted that these people, they don't care about they don't care about the celebrities. That made me realize that. Because if they cared, they would just be okay with whatever they did. But these people are just extremely selfish. And I hate them. I mean, I'm sure definitely not all of them are like this, but that is deplorable and disgusting that there are people out there who did that or who said they would do that and wanted to guilt trip like a star just in order to get what they wanted. That's just so infuriating. And just it doesn't I don't care if they're like a young kid. That's not an excuse. They should know better. Okay, now enough talk about a bunch of selfish brats going crazy over a bunch of One Direction wannabes. Let's talk about what I think is the most wholesome, best fandom. Now, the best fandom is... Can I get a drum roll, please? Mikan with a gun! I mean, it doesn't exist yet, but I mean, it was the internet's determination. We could probably get it to exist. I'm kidding. It's actually the Fluffy community. Well, specifically the subreddit. The Fluffy community is probably the best subreddit I have ever been a part of. Or the best fandom I've ever been a part of. Because the people there are actually nice. They don't care whether or not you're good at art or good at writing. As long as it like vaguely looks like a Fluffy flying at Mach 10 speed out of its anus, then people won't care. Which I really like, because I have been to subreddits where they will, or that like I have made actual drawings that took me hours to make, upload them to certain subreddits, and they're like, that's alright, I guess. But meanwhile, I make a freaking like MS Paint drawing on the fluff that took me like 2 minutes at like 2 a.m. And the Fluffy community is like, yeah, that's pretty good. Also, the rules in the subreddit are actually really simple to understand. They're not like just like the Declaration of Independence and yeah, you can only post memes on Fridays at 1 a.m. on like during the lunar year. I mean, you're not allowed to post memes on there. But, like, it's just, okay, so, don't be a jerk, and we won't delete your comments, which is the worst they would do to you. Like, they'll just delete your comments if you just break the one rule. They won't do something like, I don't know, like frickin' ban you and insult your art and give you some stupid cryptic message as to that doesn't really explain why they're banning you. And then when you obviously get upset about getting banned, they freaking permanently banned you. Yeah, like they're not like that. SCP subreddit. Yeah. But, like, by far, just my favorite subreddit probably is the Fluffy community subreddit. Now, I probably should say that there are a few that are a bit intense, but it's still a great subreddit with great people, and I am okay. So I will handle whatever weird and bizarre thing that I am thrown by the community. Also, that freaking farm comment, yeah, that's a load of baloney. And oh yeah, don't even get me started on the life of a pillow fluff. Oh, that was also a load of baloney. Okay, that's it. If you made it to the end, I wasted like a good 40 minutes of your life, but don't worry, I just wasted my entire day making this stupid video. And also, feel free to argue in the comments, because I'm probably not going to look at them. Probably not. I probably will. But I'm going to probably not. Okay. Also, I don't usually do this, but check out my Mikan swimsuit video because I'm actually very proud of it. Anyways, like I said, I wanted to make this video just before so I could just not think about YouTube. So, bye. Okay, love you all. I don't think anyone made it to the end. I mean, I've checked out my YouTube statistics. Like, a good portion of people watching usually just leave like a minute in. So, okay then. I doubt anyone's gonna want to listen to just like 40 minutes of me talking. Okay, bye. Love you.